Welcome to the Essential Libertarians, giving you the tools for self-governance. I'm your host, Kareem Mays, and today we have a special guest, Insanity is Free, Jeremiah Harding, here to talk about the advancement of tech or what's going on with tech. Is it really a good idea to push it to no bounds? And kind of figuring this whole thing out in light of recent events. Jeremy, how you doing?
That's how. So generally, like, just a lot of stuff in uh in my life that's been pushing me to realize that the fascism that I've been concerned about is coming at us at a breakneck speed. Um, and all of this has been quickly, honestly, convincing me that like the time has never been better to start, building alliances, trying to isolate, from the more fascist and fascist-leaning elements. And I think tech is a key way that this fascism is being pushed because, you know, the last time that they did a strong like cultural force for fascism and Nazism and hilarious, you know, levels of control, they had Western backing for the Nazi regime, and like IBM and Ford and all these major like Prescott Bush, even of the Bush family. The reason the Bush family had its government contacts and its fucking money was because Prescott Bush helped the Nazis hide their money and get their steel. Um, all these big tech firms getting their roots in, helping the Nazis. Um, and then like after that war, right? Um, that the Nazis allegedly lost, they had this shitty tiny little fucking asinine Nuremberg trial where they allegedly cleaned up the mess, right? They,
Allegedly.
yeah, and
But what
they like
happened really was Operation Paperclip. So a lot of people don't know what really happened. They think like,
and
oh, the good guys won and that was the end. But
and not just Paperclip either, because Paperclip was like NASA, right? They had Paperclip, that was NASA. They had the Reinhard Gehlen org, which was just a resurfacing and a resurgence through the CIA of a literal Nazi spy organization. Um, and they also had the Bundeswehr, which was the one of the first NATO high command offices, led by Heusinger and fuck, I forget. There was another one in like Nazi high command or NATO high command who were just literally Wehrmacht officers leading a Wehrmacht uh like knockoff, which was called the Bundeswehr in NATO, which was just literally NATO theater forces fighting Russia, and the CIA helping the Galen org spy on Russia and Russia, and then like funding Ukrainian nationalists who worked with like
yeah,
Stepan Bandera in Project Aerodynamic, and then like muscling out more Nazi scientists than even Paperclip, some of whom worked in the MK programs like MK Ultra, and uh, like Prescott Bush didn't get tried at Nuremberg. Instead, his money fueled the empire so that he could his family could not only like one family member lead the CIA, be a CIA director, that being, H Dub, but then Dub being president. All of these sorts of things. And then only like much later did the families of survivors sue the fuck out of the Bush family for their, involvement in the Holocaust.
yeah.
Um,
So it took a long, long time, and people don't know that.
yeah,
But the
and then like the Galen org and all these things, they all of them they rat line people like Argentina and shit like that, right? They they're all in like South America and like other places around the globe, right? And so we've got this environment where not only did the previous thing create a significant amount of the technological and hardware advancements for wars at the time, but they also used the existence of Russia to justify so many more technological advances, so much more fascism, so much more tyranny. And these tech advances all reduced freedom to some extent or entirely. And I feel like it's happening again because
Okay.
they need ways to test
I'll make
all their
one
new
this.
control mechanisms. And I don't know if you watched my latest video where I talked about Hitler's favorite art museum
I
exhibit.
think I got caught a glimpse of that because you're talking about that. Yeah, you're saying like the same concept is resurfacing
Yeah.
in a certain way. One thing I'll say though is my understanding, if you really want to break stuff down, because people are particular about this, like I have some people say, like, this certainly was this, they were not. If you want to split hairs, my understanding is that that time after the Weimar Party fell, they would say I'm a German National Socialist. Specifically in Mussolini's Italy, he would say I'm a fascist, and he would define that as the merger of corporate structure with government, which is what we have now, corporatism. That's the economic system we have now. So
Well,
I
I
think
don't know that Mussolini ever said that, but go ahead.
so I think the distinction of Italy did have a slightly different government than Weimar Germany. So
Sure.
I think that
At first.
we're already at the rise of it because let's face it, we have Raytheon, Pfizer, all these companies working with government subsidy. I mean, they might as well. The government basically just exists to me now as basically to be a surrogate for these companies. These companies do things, and then people, point, oh, it's a private corporation. And what they don't know is that all these private corporations have gained a lot of influence simply by working with the government. So and then they do a very nice kind of trick on people where you have the right, like, oh, it's big government, get big government. Then you have certain elements on the left that are like, oh, it's bad, it's big corporations, it's that. And I say no, it's both of them working symbiotically together, and a corporation is just a government C-class distinction. So the only way, again, to beat this is again decentralization. So
and the thing is, and this is where it gets interesting, because fascism has many planks, right? It's not just the merger of corporate and state power. What it is also the fact that businesses have to serve the interests of the culture, and the culture has to serve the interests of the state. And so basically it's a cyclical thing where, because you're controlling culture and the business that can arise from culture, you also have a state that is backed by cultural power and a culture that is backed by state power, all to reify and isolate this other thing and crush anything that falls outside of cultural and corporate gain. So basically, um, the thing that I could say in that regard would be that we certainly have the first element of that. We also have the other elements, because all they have to do is point at a group. Like the thing that I was bringing up was the degenerate art exhibit, and the degenerate art exhibit basically had this whole thing where the sort of the state would point at Jewish, black, any sort of allegedly degenerate element to your art, to your culture. And they would say that this is the reason this needs to be controlled. And they had multiple rooms in the degenerate art exhibit. And what the purpose of those would be to isolate cultural control. And in isolating cultural control, what they were doing is they were getting people to mock, the people they viewed as other, right? So the people they viewed as other would be the new scapegoats. And in this case, it was the Jews. It was black people,
correct.
because
And
they were
now,
influenced by the Jews, allegedly.
yes,
And now we've got trans people. We've
Correct.
got liberals. We've got the new degenerate art. We've
Yeah,
got
well,
all this new stuff that's coming out and coming out. And the general vibe that I think people should be concerned about is that while these people are like, doing the same thing, only now it's like, everywhere. It's no longer one building. The internet is the new degenerate art museum because everybody can just point and laugh at the subjected class everywhere all at once. Um, you know, because it's so like widespread, you don't need a single building and you can make a huge amount of money anyway off of that, because that was part of the purpose, is that you made money for like the Reich by selling the degenerate art to both domestic and foreign investors, and then you would use the money from the art sales to fund the Reich, to fund more war materials, to fund more camps, to fund more programs. um, you would have so many like resources available because you were like creating this like culture against these people, and at the same time this culture you would create against these people, you would have to buy an art license in Germany. If you wanted to like have your job, you would have to get an occupational license, and that occupational license meant that your job would not, dramatically shift the culture from the fascism. And
yeah. So
now, go ahead.
no, what I was gonna say is, yeah, I see it. What I mean, rulers talked about this a lot. Freemasonry has the saying, or not that, but like ordo ab chaos,
Yeah,
and it's very simple. You get people, you find anything, and what's interesting is I'll even see people describe this and then fall for it. So you find any ostensible difference, and Marxist communists have said that this is how they do it. They go into a society and they're like, look, he's poor, you're rich. He's Muslim, you're Christian. He's black, you're white. He's Jewish, you're Muslim, anything like that. And I think people have gotten over some of those things. So now, what do they have to push? Oh, the economy's collapsing. There's potential, problems. There's war. They're trying to push CBDC. Now, I think we'll disagree on the effectiveness of the elites trying to do this. But I think what we can agree on is, and what I see very clearly is, now they have a scapegoat. Oh, but you know what your problem is? It's all trans people. It's all this. It's all that. And I'm like, well, yeah, there are people who are trans who have statist ideas, but the majority I know are anarchists who are trying to fight against the system even harder than the people claiming to fight the system. And that's one thing that I've really, really taken to notice, is that, hey, these group of people who are trans anarchists, or people who are trans and want to be left alone, are now being vilified, part of this divide and conquer strategy. And I always tell people, and if Justin's watching even, look, uh, if there's an individual person doing something bad, that's one thing. But I don't hate the person, I hate the agenda. And there's a lot of trans people who are fighting against the state. There's no logical reason, if you're against the state or tyranny or anything like that, to oppose them. Even if you don't particularly like someone's behavior, I don't agree with everybody on everything, doesn't mean I can't coalition with them. Me and you don't agree that Somalia is anarchist, or what was anarchist based on scales or easy can, but yet we can work together. And I think that's my point in coalitioning, is I don't have to agree with every single aspect of what somebody will do. I don't have to agree with John Zerzan about agriculture, or somebody about the Industrial Revolution, or somebody like, saying that I'm a neo-feudalist, not this, how should, how would democracy work in this small thing? Don't have to agree on all that. What I do agree is we both want decentralization. Let's get together and see how it can work. Sorry,
well,
that's a little bit long-winded.
the reason I brought that up was specifically because the trans thing, like, it's being implemented as a distraction by the elites, not like the trans like existence. Like, trans people have existed in so many cultures for so long, so many different places, um you know literally hundreds and hundreds of years of different cultures, with different terms for it. Like, Native Americans call it two spirit a lot of the time. you know, like there are many cultures in East Asia, or many cultures in, you know, other places than, you know, the alleged greatness of Western civilization, which we see how that constantly goes.
Yeah, that's working out so well, Western, and that's an
Yeah, so
interesting thing that they pushed. That neocons and neolibs said, "Oh, Western civilization, everybody should be like us," and then it's going down the toilet. And in my
yeah,
opinion,
well,
now I'm like, well, our hegemony is not working, but let's keep pushing it anyway. It's ironic to say like the irony is perpetual in the fact that neocons and neolibs will complain, oh, okay, well, Trump lost. It was, you know, these machines and all this stuff, which I'm not saying there's obviously goofy crap going on any election. And then Hillary loses, oh, it was Russia. So your democracy perpetually doesn't even work here. Yet somehow Afghanistan, who has never been democratic, is just going to be like, whoa, look, American imperialism. I always wanted to be democratic with the tribe next to me, even though they're more decentralized. Let's try that. And it never works. So it's ironic to me that they perpetually push stuff like that. And yeah, I do think trans people as a whole are being unfairly victimized. I can't say how far back the practice actually goes because I don't know. I don't know when the first person who was actually did a procedure like that or did that, you know, existed. But what I can say is currently a lot of people are being victimized who are actual anarchists who actually want to be free,
well,
who actually want to have just a decent life outside of the realms of the state, are being targeted by people because of the state who claim to be against it. So a lot of conservatives who are like, I'm against the state, big government sucks, blah, blah, blah. But the problem is we got to get to trans people. Like the problem is not
well,
the trans people. The problem is the state telling you you need to fight the trans people so they can keep destroying your currency and screwing you over. That's my
and
analysis.
and the thing is that, like, so gender is expression. It always has been. The fact that, like, some dude only, like, codified that and then he turned out to be a terrible person, um, like, but the fact that this was, like, observable in so many different cultures, um, it's, you know, the fact that this was observable in enough cultures that he could make a compelling, like, evidentiary case that it was at least culturally phenomenologically significant, um, was enough anyway. And then they started to do brain scans, they started to do, like, chromosomal testing, they started to do all these things in order to actually test whether or not there was any, like, physiological merit to this phenomenological observation. And they found a shit ton of it, an absolute shit ton of it. Um, and
I
so
don't
what?
know the science.
So
What?
what I'm saying this for is to say that the elites have created an issue around something that has existed in many cultures for a long time, and the reason they've created that isn't so that they can destroy the currency, because the currency is already controlled by them. The currency has been fundamentally
Yeah,
destroyed for like over 100 years. The thing that they're gonna do is put it into its ultimate format with so much more tech. And that's how this ties into tech, because, you know, people who are watching this are going to be like, hey, this is 18 minutes and, like, there's a lot of trans stuff,
yeah,
but that's what it has to do with it.
yes,
The reason that I bring that up, they want you to be, like, anti-trans, they want you to be against BLM, they want you to agree that they should bomb Mexico to keep the gangs from importing fentanyl, they want you to agree that the Middle East still needs to be attacked so that they can, justify more and more importation, and protect their trade routes for their fucking, um, you know, global hegemony. Um, and they they've created enough structures to justify their brutal treatment of people around the globe, and trans is just like the next thing. They did the same thing with, the mujahideen that they built
correct.
up. They literally built up the Mujahideen and Operation Cyclone and many subsequent funding and training and whatever programs and radicalization jive, including funding Osama bin Laden's camp in Khost up until like the 90s. So like when they're doing all this, when they're continually calling, people like bin Laden freedom fighters, and then passports survived a plane that burned hot enough to knock down 2 buildings allegedly with no explosions in the sub basement. Don't ask questions and don't ask about WTC7. When they
That's what
create
got
these.
me started, actually. Well, ironically, the reason we're having this conversation is because of 2 events. One is because I was young and I have family in the Middle East, and everybody kept saying bad stuff. And they're like, okay, 9/11. I'm like, look, I know you all like, because back then it was a little bit different. Most people were like on what the news said, and the internet was still young and dial up. So I just said, like, look, okay, I got a couple questions. You said the Pentagon got hit. Yes. Where's the plane? Oh, Kareem, why you question? Why did Building 7 free fall? Why is there no plane in Somerset? How did the passports get that? So I started questioning this, and people got really, and because, oh my God, you're questioning the narrative, you're just un-American at that point. And I was thinking, like, well, no,
I'm definitely un-American. I'm anti-American.
yeah, this does not make sense. It just does not make sense. And then, Danny was questioning what was going on with the beer flu, and then lo and behold, I met you through there. So it comes from just questioning the narrative. Like, people need to stop, take an objective look and question the narrative right now and be like, wait, why do I really dislike somebody who's trans? Is it because I was told to? Is it because I have a preconceived notion about something? Is it because somebody from the Daily Wire said something? Oh, maybe it's a divide and conquer agenda. Maybe it's not the thing. I will say, if it was observable in other cultures, I'm not exactly sure how, for a few reasons, but that's fine.
Well, see, the thing is that like it's definitely been observable. But
I
like
wouldn't know how though, because correct me if I'm wrong, I'm not an endocrinologist. I don't happen to be. I have studied testosterone to bring mine up, but like I'm super against TRT, by the way. So like all these male influencers, like, it's fine. I'm like, whoa, let me tell you why I don't think that. But to be observable in I don't know, you could particularly, if there's a way to observe gender dysphoria empirically. So the only way to me it would be observable is the utilization of estrogen or testosterone.
Say so.
Correct me if I'm wrong.
They would say so. Like there were a lot of people who, like for instance, the Two-Spirit thing. They would literally just identify as either both or neither.
Okay.
Like there's a variety of cultures that just did, like with literal third like pronouns that weren't like directly signifying male or female. The like the idea that all of this is brand new is because people were taught a very specific, either Americocentric or Eurocentric way of thinking, and they
Let me
didn't
ask
look
you
beyond that.
this. Okay, fair enough. Let me ask you this, because I'm a little different in my pursuit of stuff, the things I teach, coming from a mystical perspective. Generally, it seemed any deviation from the norm, especially to religious authorities, either got you A, killed, B, under house arrest, or C, excommunicated, and all your work was destroyed. So my question, I guess, would be, if somebody had gender dysphoria back before this was known widespread, would there be, like, I guess you said MRIs could detect someone saying I have gender dysphoria. Okay, there's a scan, and I look at it, and then I understand.
Definitely one of the ways you can.
But if
you need a live brain for that, though, for an MRI specifically.
Yes. So if you don't have access to MRIs, someone says I perceive to have gender dysphoria, and they're an adult, not a kid, because you wouldn't want to do it with a kid. But there's an adult saying I have gender dysphoria. Is there a way in non-technological cultures that you can verify that, other than somebody just making the statement? Does that make
Well,
sense?
they would simply make the statement. I mean, now, see, the thing is, we had culturally phenomenological observation methods before, but like science hadn't advanced to the point of actually imaging or like microscopically examining chromosomal variations or being able to contrast. There were no Punnett squares in like 1500 BC, as far as I'm aware. I could be wrong about that. If I am, somebody let me know. Or not 50 BC, AD. But like, so basically, you would just like look at the cultures, look at which ones had more flexibility, more freedom in this regard, and then you would look at the reasons for that, whether or not the culture was like specifically keyed into one or the other sex, whether it was patriarchal, matriarchal, whether it was more egalitarian, whether it was an expansionist empire, which generally those tended to be either patriarchal or matriarchal, typically patriarchal, um, and therefore like very keenly invested in enforcing their particular norms, um, you know, and you would get there, right? Based on the idea that like um, if you had a norm you wanted to enforce, it wouldn't matter whether or not somebody identified. In fact, they would probably be pilloried. They would probably be like stoned, beaten, killed,
Yes.
whatever. And if they came from a culture which was regularly and routinely practicing this, your civilization would call them savages, have them
Correct.
killed. They
Correct.
would expand to their
And that's
environment,
the
say that,
that's the
God
issue.
authorized me to be here, and all this stuff. And so basically, we are the product of many expansionist imperial like societies based on a global hegemony currently in place, and these like Amerigo and Eurocentric like models.
Fair enough.
Those
I don't even
created
blame
a
that because I look at what Abrahamic cultures did to everything, and it's bad. Like the Zoroastrians are basically gone because of Shia and Sufi Islam, not even extreme, just moderate interpretations, and the Gnostics, which just meant knowledge. A lot of them were killed. Then, if anybody in the actual religion deviated with ideas like Gordiano Bruno, if you're familiar with him,
I'm
just
not.
he just had mystical interpretations of Christianity. So, oh, okay, somebody, pulls out and is like, I don't think this is just behavior modification. I think there's a mystical interpretation to this, and it's this. And then people just got really mad. It's like, well, then we're gonna execute. And you can go with any Christian mystic, really. They
Well,
were
or just like the people who went like outside, like the people who were heterodox, like fucking Tolstoy, even.
yeah. Even Tolstoy is like, and to me, that's kind of where I know we're putting anarcho on everything, but if you want to talk about like where's the origins of anarcho pacifism, it's probably be Tolstoy to me.
Well, maybe in a Western context, there was still Taoism.
Yeah, there's Taoism, there's Lao Tzu and stuff like that. So,
Well, the reason I'm bringing all that up though
yeah, and let's
is
get to the tech part, I guess.
because like if they can get us to ignore that, if they can get us to ignore like the long history of expansionist conquest and the advancement of wartime technology for the slow destruction of liberty, or at this point the much faster destruction of liberty, if they can get us to ignore all that because my children or you know gotta point those degenerates in making that art I don't like, those points I don't like, saying that thing I don't agree with, um then they can just get us fighting each other so much that we can never do jack fucking shit to stop the progress of tech. We can never do anything about their AI facial recognition that they're building. We can never do anything about their global satellite networks. We can never do anything about their uh,
Correct.
ability to see through walls with Wi-Fi and like observe our
Yes.
gates in order
Now,
to tell who we are. Um,
or CBDC or
eavesdropping.
anything like that.
Yeah,
But I'll say
eavesdropping with
this,
Shot Spotter,
I have a
Stingray
different
cell
view
phone
of it.
surveillance.
I have a different view. Yes, does all that technology exist probably because of DARPA and black budget projects when 2 trillion go missing? Yes. Are the people who'd use it like Yuval Harari and Klaus Schwab and people in the WF? They would. And they'd instruct their governments who are basically just puppets, them, or as they call them, young global leaders, to do it, to get their global.
Like Elon Musk.
Yeah, like Elon Musk, Linda Yacaro, all of them. So my thing is, I do have enough faith in people. Michael Tessarion said, do all these things exist? Yes. Do they have the potential to use them? Yes. But the thing that happens if you don't give in to the fear, enough people don't give in to the fear, then it severely limits their ability to, carry on with these things. The problem is, yes, some people are giving in to the fear and doing divide and conquer agendas where they're like, this group of people, it's Christians. No, it's not Christians. It's the Democrats. Oh, no, it's not the Democrats. It's trans people. Okay, no, it's not the trans people. It's this people. It's that person. It's that person. And then boom, boom, boom. And then all of a sudden
Right.
fighting. And then, yeah, I get where you're going. They're
balkanization is what it's called.
Balkanization. And then you get the GOP to say, oh, E-Verify is great. Come on, guys, just a little E-Verify. And then you incrementally, oh, hey, we just want to test out this new crypto. See, oh, we just want to test this out. We just want to, we're just trying this out. We're not going to implement it or anything. Kind of like how they did the, scary beer flu. Oh, there's a scary beer flu. They'll be done in 2 weeks. Just 2 weeks.
Right.
Just go to your job. 2 weeks to slow the spread. They wanted you to forget that. Oh, it's really bad now. It hasn't ended. We need just more time. Oh, it's the most terrible thing. We have a solution, but it's up to you to utilize it. We're not going to push it on you. And even the president said that. Obviously, they want you to forget that too. Then they're like, oh, you have to take, but don't worry, it does this, and this. Actually, no, just this, and this. Actually, no, just, and boom. So that's how I see it. They incrementally push stuff. I have enough faith people will push back.
They're not, though, and that's the thing.
There are people
not. They're not people dramatically enough pushing back against the CBDC, and I'm going to list a bunch of things. There aren't. There aren't enough people. There aren't. There aren't enough people pushing back against. There aren't. There aren't enough people pushing back against the CBDC.
There is
the facial recognition cameras, against the universal ID, against the internet itself, against the satellite internet. This is all being built. It's not being slowed. It's happening.
Okay, I understand that this. Well, for one, CBDC, I question how effective their infrastructure will be, but it didn't work in Nigeria as they wanted. People didn't want it. They didn't want it so bad they shut down banks, and there was conflicts. The way I see it going is people will just say, "I'm not doing it. I'll just take cash. I'll take whatever. I'll take, take bottle caps. Take it." But people will resist it because people know what it is. Even people who are not like conspiracy minded, I'm not talking about they're people who just like, no, I don't want CBC. I don't want cryptocurrency. They don't want any of it. Actually,
most people don't know about it to resist it. Most people don't give a fucking shit.
Okay, let's take Nigeria as an example because that's where it's implemented. I've done cryptocurrency presentations on different types of tokens and coins that people could get to improve their situation. Were the tokens and coins great? No. But taking Leeson's approach, they're better than the institutional alternative of hyperinflated fiat currency. So the tokens, I was talking about these different and they did help some people, even if it's 1/100th of a penny, that's pretty good. It's not good to us, but it's good to somebody in Venezuela, Nigeria, somewhere else. So cryptocurrency started its roots there, and people from different parts of Africa really like cryptocurrency. They want to get into it because they see it as a good alternative. They should have logically jumped on CBDC, but they didn't. They resisted it to the point that banks had to shut down. So if it can't work in Nigeria, it's not going to work here.
It already is working here. They did a test pilot program for 6 fucking months and proved that it works.
But I'm not saying it. Okay, maybe it works technologically, but people will. I have enough faith in humanity that people will resist it.
If people cared about the strength and health of the currency beyond convenience and living, not like fucking losing access to food or being unable to pay rent or whatever, they wouldn't have taken the checks. The checks were the government's test program for giving people money and ushering them into a new system based on convenience and based on attaboys. The US government will make this happen because they will make people want it by crippling the economy to the extent where people will use what's available as long as it's accepted by the retailers they go to, by their landlord, by the system, by the structure, by their utility companies, by the trash collectors, by the structure, man. They will accept it because it will be accepted and because they will slowly phase out the acceptance of the other money. And people aren't willing to look into it now. Most people don't know about CBDC. Most people don't give a fucking shit. So it's not a matter of needing to catch the few resistors who know what's up and who are going to say no. It's a matter of the vast majority of people don't give a fucking shit, and they're going to do it anyway because it's convenient and accepted where they go.
Well, what I want to push back and say is some people out of convenience will do it. That's how they usher in tyranny, through convenience. That's their primary methodology.
And it's worked basically every step of the way.
Now the checks is an interesting thing, because I have people, even ardent Trump supporters, are like, yeah, print the checks, we need it right now. I'm like, it'll just make things go higher, and the check that you deposit will basically equal out or be worthless because inflation will be ridiculous. I said, no, inflation won't happen. We need it now. Trump, and people gave me a very weird argument. Well, Trump wants you to work, but Bernie doesn't work, so Trump should do socialism, but Bernie shouldn't do socialism, which makes no sense. And I think that's honestly how they get their bases. Oh, well, my team's doing it, so my team, we like red socialism or orange socialism. Or
neither of them are socialism.
It's just redistributing money, really, whatever you want to call it. But now I talk to people like, look, the checks were a bad idea. Printing money was a bad idea. And all this stuff was a bad idea. And they're starting to agree with me. I think for a lack of, what should have been a better response to, everything that went on during COVID, people are now starting to pick up and go, oh, wait, maybe the government would do them. Maybe the government isn't, on my team. And maybe the government is planning, this, and this. And I think it caused a lot of people to start looking into the truth and going down certain rabbit holes. Obviously, they went down the Q rabbit hole, which is not good, but people lost faith in that when their predictions didn't come true. I think because of their failure or success with COVID, they did do a lot of things they wanted.
It was something like 61% recently of people who still support Trump, who supported him before, who would support him for president. It hasn't changed dramatically, yo.
But what has changed, I do feel there's a changing. You can call it the Great Awakening. I do believe people are starting
people are more asleep than ever, yo.
I don't think so. At least
why?
Because at least people are picking up, because when I talk about things that are of a conspiratorial nature, they're like, oh, wait, maybe they're not experts on it. They're not like, wow, I know the Young Global Leader but they know what's going on with the WEF. They know that there's issues with Big Pharma. They know that, Ukraine there's the BS going on there. So I want to give people a little bit more credit that they are looking into stuff. They are figuring out stuff, like you're saying. I'm not super optimistic saying, oh yeah, it'll end tomorrow. But I'm not super pessimistic saying we're doomed. I think that's a pretty balanced perspective.
I'm not going to do a balanced perspective. I'm going to do the realistic
That
perspective
is the
that says
realistic
that
perspective.
no, because you can say that people are starting to wake up. And I can say that the truth movement is more compromised than ever by a bunch of people who literally don't care if they're lying. For instance,
Who?
the trans subject. I posted a screenshot compilation of a bunch of different people replying to a woman who had fucking breast cancer and a
Oh,
double
that.
mastectomy. And these alleged truth patriots were all up in this fucking cancer post saying that this woman would regret it, that she would, regret it later in life, have it, that you cut off healthy tissue. This is autism or something, and also trans agenda, and don't show teenagers. She was a fully grown adult woman. I think she was like 30 something.
Yeah.
Uh, you, this is this is the modern truth thing. It's not truth. They don't give a fucking shit about truth. There is
Oh,
no awakening. It
I will
doesn't
say this.
fucking
I'll say
matter.
this. Look. Okay. Okay. Yes, I think there's a mass hysteria now of people who will look at anything. Like if I trying to think of a good example. If I did anything remotely feminine, I don't know where if I or if someone does they or anything remotely that resembles anything part of this, they freak out. Another example, you know what, I can't really think of an example with myself, but they lost their minds over Megan Fox's kids,
Yeah.
adopted kids, and I'm like, look, just one, I don't know, we have no proof, and Blair White and other people were right, like, you have no proof she's medically transitioning anything or doing anything, and yet they just want to freak out. And I'm not a fan of Megan Fox, by the way. Her Machine Gun Karen, I'm not a fan of them. They're totally Illuminati owned, but the fact that they're just like, Megan Fox is doing this.
Here's the thing about the Megan Fox kid situation. Literally, when you see the End Wokeness post that recently sparked up a bunch of this garbage, this bitch at End Wokeness on Twitter literally posts images of two of the kids in basically boys' clothing from like 90s aesthetic, like grunge ass. One of them was wearing camo pants and a Led Zeppelin shirt. And
Yeah,
this bitch said that this was girls' clothing. It's not.
it's
These
not.
people will lie. And that's not just like, this is like surface level lie. There's a whole nother like deeper canvas level of lie that is the transpiracy, where if they see a remote little bulge in somebody's like pants, it doesn't matter that the person might have been wearing a pad. It doesn't matter that the person might have just had a rumple in their clothing. It doesn't matter. It's if they can see a little vague shadow near the groin region, they will call that person a man. They will claim that, oh, this person has an Adam's apple. That means that they're a dude. No, chicks have Adam's apples all the fucking time. It
They do.
happens.
They do.
And these
I
people
could
are
even
just
see them.
dumb.
Yeah. No, hey, I could see some people. I'll agree with you. There are probably some people on the internet that, like, when women get older, sometimes they get a little bit of a mustache. They're probably like, "Oh my god, transit, this." It's like, no, it's an older like woman or something like that. Like, chill out. I got called woke. Well, I've been called everything under the sun, so that doesn't work. I've been called a neo-Confederate. I've been called a communist. I've been called, socialist. I've been called this. And then people like, you sound woke. I'm like, why am I woke? Because you say there's trans anarchists. Well, they exist. You can choose to either A, not acknowledge them, B, talk to them, C, coalition with them and be like, what's up? What do you guys kind of perspective on things, like I did? I mainly just watch conversations in Discord because I get so many notifications on Discord. It's hard to keep up, but I like to read Discord, if that counts. So I read stuff and I tell these people, like, look, your concept is wrong. You're looking at a few people who are statist or a few people you don't like in a group, pointing to that group, saying it's all bad. This divide and conquer has been done before,
like Justin calling them public pedophiles, calling LGBT public pedophiles. And then when pressed on it to prove that shit, he says, no, the LGBT, like it's some sort of fucking corporation. And he can just point at the letters and say, no, the. I said the. That means I'm not a bigoted piece of shit. No, he is. And the whole...
He doesn't understand what here's the thing. People don't understand that the elites are using an agenda. Clearly that's correct. But I'm an individual. Everybody in the truth movement, most of these truth movements, I'm going to go out on a limb and say generally wants individual rights, or at least individual rights on the basis of some collective idea. So if that is the case, even if they want patriotism at the end, let's say we want individual rights. Well, take people as individuals. And the majority of trans people I've met, all of them, pretty much want to be left alone, want to own guns, want to, raise chickens, engage in agriculture. Sorry, John Zerzan. Do all
mind that, to be clear. He says that there's an optimal way to be that we've gotten away from, but he personally isn't going to move out of Oregon.
Yeah, that's
we went over this on like the stream he was on.
Yes,
he
did.
He thinks that there's an optimal way to be that we've walked away from, but he's not going to he's going to try to live within the structure as he's going to try and live within the structure as well as possible. And he's going to try to, not be controlled as much as possible.
You know what? I think okay, to be fair, I don't actually look at John Zerzan. Funny enough, for anarcho-primitivism, you know who I look at?
Go for it.
Dr. Saladino lived with them because he's into the carnivore diet. Tanzania, the Hadza. The Hadza are actually, to me, they don't particularly have a government. They have elders, and they don't have. It's interesting to me. A lot of people are like, "Oh, primitivism cream sucks. Everybody's dying at like 15." I'm like, the Hadza don't have a huge gut. They don't have this. I'm not saying like I want to live like that, but like take in the stride. They don't have glyphosate. They don't have atrazine, which Bobby Kennedy talked about, which I'm interested actually about one thing to ask you about that. But they don't have all these chemicals, glyphosate, all these things. We can debate on these things are good or bad, but definitely geoengineering is a thing.
No, don't debate about whether glyphosate is bad. If it was fine, the guy who made it and vouched for it and said he could drink a pint of it would have drank the jar of glyphosate that the guy offered.
I was going to debate. I'm starting to like Bobby Kennedy a lot. I'm probably going to vote for Bobby Kennedy. I know that sounds anti-anarchist.
I won't, because of a variety of reasons. But at the same time, the reason, and I'm just saying, like, there's no moderation. These people will not drink the products they say to drink, eat the products they say to eat. They won't drink the tap water they said was fine because they know it has fluoride and lead and all these contaminants in it. They won't go to Ohio to live, even though they told you to go back there.
Bill Gates won't eat his own lab-grown meat, although maybe he does with the way he's looking. I wouldn't. Maybe I'm wrong there.
No, he won't.
But I am starting to
You will own nothing. You will be happy. You will live in the pod. You will eat the bugs.
I am. I will say this. Even as an anarchist in the immediate praxeological future, I personally am starting to really like Bobby Kennedy after people put my attention to him and I listened to him. And I think he's putting out the most truth. Does that mean
the last
candidate
of any merit at all, including this guy, the last candidate with any fucking merit at all was John McAfee. That's the last. That's the only. Fuck everyone else.
I like John McAfee though. I do.
He had balls. He was willing to stand up to every single motherfucker, including people in the libertarian movement who were not down for the full and he was also there to show people like how to use cryptos to escape. He was there to show people how to escape if they wouldn't let you use your cryptos. He was constantly on the run. He was telling people practical ways to free themselves. His campaign was don't vote for John McAfee because his whole idea was, I'm going to use the presidential platform and the fact that they have to, in the name of fairness, like air my shit, to put like these extreme views saying taxation is theft, war is murder, statism is slavery, these extreme like actual anarchist mentalities in front of people, instead of just pussyfoot bitching assed around and saying, oh yeah, you know what, I coughingly sputtered some statements on Joe Rogan, vote for me now. No, I'm good, Bobby. Sorry, not sorry. There are so many people, and like I didn't even like vote for McAfee, um, because the purpose of his campaign was to spread the messages. Um, but if I was to vote for anyone, it would have been him. They gave him the shaft at the convention though, because they would rather have like the fucking morons forever. Like whether it be Gary Johnson or some other equally watered down wingnut stupid piece of garbage, they've got the worst people consistently forever in all of the major parties, including libertarians. And it's shown that we've gotten entrenched, we've gotten hoof rotted, like the horse is gonna die, and nobody gives a shit because at least they get to market the pus.
Okay. All right. From what I'll say, I'm gonna keep listening to him. Not making any promises yet, but I like what he's saying. But to get on to thing, yeah, the Hadza would be, or like certain band tribes. I've looked into there's band tribes are like tribal structures, I think, is what he's going for. So, but yeah, but to get back to the subject, yes, all the trans people I've met, all of them, every single one wants basically to kind of live an agorist type lifestyle. And most of them don't even get really involved in politics. And the problem is the media would have you believe that, it's just these select few people. And then the conservatives will latch onto that because they're controlled opposition and say, look, it's just this, and to me, Dylan Mulvaney's an actor. To me, it's very clear he's just acting. He doesn't really care about anything other than
JC, my man. I don't even know if I know you on Facebook or whatever, but feel free to connect because
JC,
yes,
he's Jesus Christ.
When RFK like stopped supporting Roger Waters, that says everything. Motherfuckers. He deleted a tweet in support of Roger Waters, who
For
just
Palestine.
wants, yeah, because he's a fucking sold out. And yeah, let's talk about the CIA in the context of how bad they are, and all of this. But then say that the CIA mostly is good people. Fuck you, RFK, bitch ass. Sputteringly good. You've got a book to sell. You know you're not going to get elected president. You're going to sell a bunch of books. You're cashing in. Have a lifetime subscription to Depends for your geriatric ass. Fuck off, bitch.
Look, he could be controlled opposition.
He is.
But I'm
also a cynical asshole.
Yes, this is correct. So that's what I'm not going to say. I'm going to withdraw support because sometimes I think you're super pessimistic or cynical about
me.
Things. Yeah. And I always like to, sit and wait stuff out before people. Here's one mistake people always make in politics. They're like, oh, Elon bought Twitter. It's going to be the greatest thing ever. Wait, see what happens. All this.
Remember, by the way, just on that note, remember when that happened and I was on your show? I think Danny was even there, and like I think both of you were disappointed with me saying that he was working for the WEF.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just saying, yo. Now Linda Yaccarino of the WEF is CEO. I was right the whole time. I've been right. Fucking pessimism works.
Sometimes. Look, but I didn't disagree with you on that. But what I am saying is this. Regardless if you're pessimistic or optimistic, sometimes waiting just works. Like I usually wait to see what people say or do, and then I can gauge, and then I have a better opinion on stuff, and I don't have to delete tweets. I don't have to like walk back things. I don't have to say, oh, I said that, but then I was wrong, and I said, because I just wait on something, and I wait for a decent amount of time where I can say, like, look, here's what's going on. As opposed to people who just jump the gun. They're like, this. And I'm like, no, wait, hold on. And people don't want to wait. And
But how many of the things have I said have been proven wrong?
I haven't gone through your history, but
in your experience. Just saying, yo.
I can't think of anything off the top of my head. But I don't agree with the Somalia thing. I don't agree with the Leeson stuff, obviously. I don't know.
Well, either way, the core, like, we are on the precipice of significant evil, and it's already here in many aspects. Like, so, okay. Have I explained shot spotters to you before? Or have you looked into them?
Shot spotters.
Okay, probably not then. Shot spotters are highly sensitive microphones that they will place throughout a city, and they are allegedly designed to capture gunfire so that the police can triangulate the signal of gunfire. But they're really fucking sensitive microphones which can capture and triangulate gunfire. So you know what else they capture?
Gunfire.
Everything.
Yep.
They're eavesdropping devices. And literally the ACLU and Electronic Frontier Foundation are both with me on this, that they shouldn't be used, that they're inherent and intrinsic violators of civil liberties, that they fuck with your ability to say anything because the walls are listening to you. And these things are in so many cities. These things are being put in so many cities. The mayor of Chicago, Lightfoot, she like did this whole like multi.
Not the mayor anymore, though.
Yeah, I know. The mayor of Chicago, Lightfoot, did this whole multi-year contract with ShotSpotter, which is now like Safety Sound or something like that. She did this whole thing with them for years and like billions of dollars to put in these shot spotters. And the ACLU, EFF, so many rights organizations, some people suing on behalf of the citizens, all these things. Some people who literally got like falsely arrested because of it. They started to go up in arms about it because billions of dollars were put into a surveillance system that was fucking them over. The next mayor said he would change all that. He said, I don't like this shit. This isn't fucking cool, yo.
Mm-hmm.
Whoops. He whoopsied a signature onto a contract for more shot spotters. He said he made a terrible mistake and didn't know he was signing it.
Sounds like controlled opposition.
Yes. So what I'm saying is that ShotSpotter, okay, they've got Wi-Fi that is aggressive enough to see through walls and like tell through who people are through gait recognition. So they can hear through walls with ShotSpotter. They can see through walls with Wi-Fi. They can hear you in your room, measure your everything with your cell phone, with other smart devices. Amazon just locked a dude out of his smart home technology because
I heard about that because he said a racial slur, But in my opinion, I don't think
he wasn't even there at the time. No. It's not an opinion. He wasn't there.
Yeah,
is
not slur, but you weren't there in existence. So yeah, that's the interesting thing.
And he submitted video evidence.
Yeah,
and all this tech, all of it, facial recognition everywhere because of the contact-free lifestyle, delivery everything because of the contact-free lifestyle, like automated, buses that you now have to scan a QR code on your phone app in order to move around Spokane. That's a thing that I have to use now. And it's really great when it accidentally signs you out and you have to like struggle to get back into the app in order to get on a fucking bus. I love that. It's great. But like all of this stuff, it's incrementally getting us used to the digitization of normal public utilities. It's getting us used to scanning our faces at the register with the Amazon stores. It's getting us used to the mark of the beast in the form of biometric scanners on our fucking hand and in our face. It's getting us used to this new lifestyle. It's getting us warmed the fuck up to it. It's getting us used to this surrogate life of, pushing buttons, logging into systems, being part of the structure, scanning your QR code, scanning your palm, using your voice print, using your face. Just walk, move through our corporate controlled hellscape, move through our landscape. Let's like gradually move people into this mentality. Let's shut down because of all these regulations and restrictions during COVID. So many small businesses that now people are left with the options of a significantly smaller amount of alternatives or the streamlined mega corporate fucks. And all of these mega corporate fucks, which were on board with these agendas, they are creating the foundation for ID 2020. They are creating the foundations for the OpenID FIDO Alliance. They are creating the foundations for the CBDC. They are creating the foundations for global governance. They are creating the foundations for all of this. And all they need to do is flip the fucking switch and say, isn't it convenient? Come in and we'll give you X amount of money to start up your account with FedCoin. And people will fucking say yes because they like free shit, because they already participate in these structures,
That's where I
because
disagree.
they already have the phone apps, because they're already scanned into the system, because it's already here, and because all they need to do is flip a fucking switch.
Okay, listen. Okay, I get it. They're going to use convenience as a way to try and usher in tyranny, and that is definitely their plan. That I will not debate. But what I will debate is, I think people have seen enough of what they've done because of their, you can either call it success of some of their plans or missteps with COVID, that people have started to look into, well, this doesn't make sense. What else is there? And now people are more privy to a lot of their so-called tricks that they're going to pull with technocratic things that, yes.
Where? Who?
There's people, well, okay, if you want actual practical examples, I'm not a fan, but there are states, governors who have banned CBDC, banned it in Florida, just said, we're going to ban it. I'm not necessarily saying that's how I go about it, but.
Awesome. So when they turn the U.S. over to CBDC, is Florida going to secede, or is Florida going to get the CBDC because it's the way they get their federal fucking grants?
I have no idea what's going to happen.
They're not going to resist
I don't
it.
think.
Daddy
wait,
Fed
hold on. That question's that's kind of a loaded question in the sense that, well,
I don't think
when
so.
When the U.S. does, you're presupposing the U.S. already did. I'm not saying that. I'm saying the U.S. and people I'm saying people all over the world, not just in the Western world or Western culture.
The U.S. hegemony is responsible for a huge amount of this, and when the U.S. hegemony isn't doing it, there are so many other countries that you can track via the Atlantic Council's CBDC tracker who are already the fuck on board. Even if you go with BRICS, China has been on the prototype for the CBDC for fucking ever, yo.
Yeah, the digital yuan, if that's what you're referring to. Yeah, I understand. But China's not a good example because China is an authoritarian communist state.
No, it's not. It's state capitalism. Mao even fucking said so.
Okay, it's state capitalism. State capitalism. Fair enough. But I'm actually, I agree with Emma Goldman. Let's put it that way. When Emma Goldman said in the USSR, there's no communism in Russia, I agree with her. Now, what you want to specifically call what that was, and there's a guy I started watching The Dive with Jackson Hinkle. I'm going to debate this guy because he said, well, Marx and Stalin had some good points. I personally think if people listen to Bakunin, if I could go back in time and change 3 events, it would be Bakunin. Actually, people listen to him.
Plenty of people listen to Bakunin. They just didn't have official state support. So when the state started running like their fucking pogroms, fucking somehow the dissidents lost.
Yes.
That's what's going to happen again. It always fucking does.
Well, the best way to predict history is to create it. We have the ability to see what happened back then, and we do have the ability to do something different now.
And I hope we do, but we can't if we just assume it'll be fine because people are waking up.
Okay. I do feel people are waking up. I'm not
They're not
gonna sit there and tell you that I'm not, I'm pessimistic. Nobody's waking up because I just don't see it that way. People, it's the same thing actually when conservatives are like, can't you just not like trans people? I'm like, no, I have trans friends. They're like, but you could just, we don't like them. I'm like, okay.
I have relatively alert friends. A few of them. Like I have like I want to say like a few thousand people that I know, like personally, who are actual good people. But that is a few thousand out of hundreds of millions in the US. That is a few thousand out of like 7 billion on Earth.
Okay, fine. But even if we go with that, okay, that's not exactly, well, that's not 3%, but really all you need. The Revolutionary War, all major events in history.
The Revolutionary War was compromised by French money. What?
I get
why the Whiskey Rebellion happened.
Okay, I understand that. But my point is major historical things that happen are generally done by small amounts of people. That's one thing Michael Malice points out. It's kind of like, people who don't want to participate, just watch opera shows or whatever.
Yeah, Michael Malice also is sort of a hack in the fact that he will like use people like Emma Goldman in his book and then criticize communism pretty much at every potential turn and call everything bad involving government commies.
Well, okay. I actually don't look at him a ton. My point is simply this. Whether you like Michael Malice or not, like I'm not going to the specific behavior of these people. I'm pointing out certain things that they've said that I find to be true is that you need a small percentage of people to enact change. And how do I know that? The elites are a small amount of people. There's only thousands of them that are, if that are enacting
with millennia of blood money to steer the dog with.
But we have more than thousands of people, in my opinion, who are effectively on the side of decentralization. So I'm not that black-pilled. You can be if you want to, but I'm saying
I am
a small majority.
That's why concentration camps always target minorities.
I understand that, but we have a small minority that can make a change in one direction or another. There's two, as I've explained it to people, there's a bunch. If you're playing an RPG, which like Morrowind, there's a few hero characters and then there's a few evil characters. Or you know what? Here's a better example. And since you're playing Biomutant, let's do it this. Let's look at it from a Fallout scenario. We have the Enclave, which is the people trying to enact all this. Then we have us, which is the Brotherhood of Steel. If you want to be part of,
the Brotherhood of Steel was hardly libertarian, but okay.
I'm trying to come up with a good example, but let's say, I wouldn't say the Brotherhood of Steel is archetypal libertarians, but
I would rather just, if we're going games, I would rather just be the Sonic freedom fighters, but that doesn't mean that we're ultimately going to win. It just means that we're going to try anyway. I'm not black-pilled to the point of defeatism. I'm not defeatist. After this, like stream, I'm going to go out and I'm going to work out. In fact,
you keep running miles. You have the EXC people and all those people are involved. In my opinion,
in fact, I had like this thing recently where I found out that I could turn my my pull-up bar using a door hook that's like it hooks with the like under door thing to your resistance trainer, which is like the rubber band things with the handles on it. You can hook that under door thing above the door and just use a pull-up bar like this. And I did like 100 pull-ups yesterday. I was pretty stoked with that because like I couldn't do one in high school. I was a spindly fucking nerd.
Me too.
And now I'm just a nerd and less spindly. So like the whole point is that like I'm not trying. I'm not saying it's impossible. I'm saying that we need to be realistic about where we are.
I am
And
realistic.
that
There's
most
enough
of the
people.
people in truth circles don't give a fucking shit about truth. They don't care
Okay, but
if it
even
goes
if they
against
don't,
their comfort.
even if
They
they
don't
don't, they
care
don't
if
matter.
it doesn't
Okay,
reify their bigoted garbage, and they represent the thrust of the truth movement.
but still, okay. Forget the truth movement. Let's say you don't like the truth movement. I'll assume.
I don't.
Okay, I like some of it. It depends who it is. It highly the Corbett Report, pretty good. You know, I like
You
Greg
mean
Reese
Corbett?
or Corbett Report. Corbett Report. Sorry, not Stephen Colbert. Corbett Report's good.
He's got some bad views on trans people as well.
I haven't looked at that. Like, this is the thing. Just because somebody has views that I don't like doesn't mean they doesn't have good work. Like,
I recognize that, and I will still cite him on 9/11, for instance. He did great
he's
work
good
there.
at like how big oil took over the world. There's good stuff there. The problem is, in a lot of times, people say one thing, like if like Leeson says Somalia's anarchist, you're like, all right, throw it all out. I'm like, well, what else did he say? Like, can we at least?
I didn't throw it all out. I listened to like all of it, and I disagree. And I disagreed with a lot of what he said.
But there's good people in the truth movement. Luke Rudowski,
Right.
Corbett Report.
Luke Rudowski, basically, nah. I mean, he just regurgitates things other people say. There are people who do actual investigative work.
Okay, Mark Passio. Mark Passio is pretty good.
Kinda sometimes when he's not saying that atheists can't be anarchists or some other garbage like that.
Well, apparently,
True Stream Media is better. True Stream Media does it right, in my opinion.
Dan Dix is good.
Dan Dix is reasonable. At least he's going out there and actually talking to people.
Yeah, so Greg Reese is good with his little shorts. I like his work anyway.
But like, True Stream Media to me is the standard. To me, True Stream Media does it right. Jake Tran does a lot of good work as well. Like, I like people who document it, especially making it somewhat interesting. I like people who like talk about the subjects that you're not supposed to. Those people are who I prefer.
Okay. And I'll say, okay, you don't get along with him. I have disagreements with him too, but I like him, and that's Josh from World Alternative Media.
The thing that was fucking hilarious about that was that the falling out between us was because I criticized a fucking beta app. And like the app, I'm not saying the beta soy. I'm saying like the app was in beta and I fucking submitted feedback and the bitch ass like threw a tantrum and blocked me.
Look, I'm just here. I wasn't there for the interaction, so I'm gonna judge. Me and Josh get along. I have no problems with Josh. He hasn't said anything. I don't. I find terrible, but even I disagree with some of his predictions. Fair enough. I don't think that they're going to succeed with all this stuff. That being said,
it's just like, okay, but JC brings up good points in the chat here when he's bringing up the fact that RFK's like switching of stances on Israel fucks him in terms of truth. When he brings up the fact that DeSantis like is basically cucked the same country.
I'm the most pro-Palestine. Okay, look, all my family is super pro-Palestine. I'm pro-Palestine. I don't hate Jews. I don't have any problems.
Yeah, same.
I don't have problems with Israelis.
I don't want them at war either.
Yeah, I have no problems with Israelis or Jews or anything like that. I think one side is definitely, obviously, oppressing the other side, and that's still wrong. Doesn't matter which side it is. That being said, I need to find, before someone says that specific thing, I'm kind of at the point where I'm like, I need to find the specific link where he said what he say, because there are people who are saying climate lockdown
legislation for Florida.
I get that, but here's the thing: people came to me and said RFK is going to do climate lockdowns. Then he said he's against the whole climate change, agenda. Then they said he was anti-Second Amendment. Then he said, no, he's for the Second Amendment himself. So my problem is, I get a lot of people who are like, well, this guy is for this. And I'm like, how do you know that? Well, someone told me this guy's for this. Well,
then I will send you links.
Okay, I'll take a look and say that. But I will say this. If RFK is good on everything, even me being pro-Palestine, and he's bad on one or two things that I don't like, but he's still a good guy, I can live with that. Like,
I can't live with somebody who's already sacrificing his principles to the point of
I don't know if he did that.
a fucking tweet.
Did that. We don't know if he did. We don't know if he did.
I know. Don't say we. You maybe. I know. Also, you're muted. I don't know. I just, I know.
I don't know how I don't have any proof to say RFK deleted a tweet.
Okay, then. 1 moment.
But I'm not saying he didn't. So how would he delete Roger Waters? Was it
No, he didn't delete Roger Waters' tweet. He deleted a tweet about in support of Roger Waters.
Okay.
He cucked.
I don't know. Look, wouldn't that be a better question to ask? Because people say stuff about Jack Dorsey that's not true. And I'm like, look, I've defended Jack Dorsey on some things because I honestly believe he had a good vision for Twitter, got taken over by people who are authoritarians and drove it in the wrong direction. And I think Jack Dorsey does have some ANCAP leanings. That being said, I like to hear it from the person themselves because there's a lot of stuff on the internet where somebody said this, somebody,
Prominent Israeli magazine. Champion for Israel, RFK Jr. flip-flops on Roger Waters' Holocaust and anti-Semitism. Infamous conspiracy theorist Robert F. Kennedy Jr., who's challenging Joe Biden for the Democratic presidential nomination and has addressed far-right rallies, praised Roger Waters and then accused him of double standards on Israel. So, Robert F. Kennedy Jr. endeavored to stake out his pro-Israel bona fides in recent weeks as he challenges Joe Biden for the Democratic presidential nom. The push from Kennedy, who has repeatedly made comparisons to the Holocaust as part of his anti-vaccination efforts over the past decades, comes directly after he publicly defended rock star Roger Waters, who was embroiled in various anti-Semitism controversies of his own after, among other things, donning a costume intended to evoke Nazi attire at a concert in Germany. Now that's fucking bullshit, but this is a pro-Israel rag, so they're lying. The juxtaposition of Kennedy's tweeted defense of Waters, which he subsequently deleted, and his efforts at establishing his pro-Israel positions come as he seeks to make inroads in long-shot bid at challenging Biden. So, just to be clear, the outfit was an outfit for the fascist organization, which was depicted in the fictional universe of The Wall. It had the hammer logo that the Wall was famous for, that was to describe the fascist regime that rises up in the movie. He's worn the costume to so many concerts for decades, and the fact that he wore it now is being criticized and somehow treated as new because of a bunch of bullshit lies. RFK Jr. deleted a tweet defending him because his pro-Israel bona fides were being challenged at that point because he wasn't moving in lockstep. He will throw people under the fucking bus as long as it helps his political career.
I have a problem with that source specifically because that is super, super, super
what
biased.
Source would you like to prove this? Because he literally explains it. You can watch a YouTube video of him explaining it.
I would like to see this. I would like to see what he does on the campaign trail. I would like to see what he does in regards to if he gets in or if he campaigns or what he does in regards to talking about these specific issues. I do think, based on some of his stances, It could be good for decentralization in the way of putting a dent in intelligence agencies and big pharma.
I'm sending something in private chat. Start at around 1:55. He's literally confronted fucking about this. Yo. This
All right.
isn't a fucking made up story.
I'm not saying it is. I'm not saying it is.
Then why did you question the source? Why does the source fucking matter?
Because it's a pro-Israel newspaper.
That means that they're more likely to dig up the dirt on him supporting the allegedly anti-Israel position. I'm steel manning this motherfucker. I'm not going with an anti-Israel site. I'm going with a pro-Israel site. They would have every incentive to cover it up if he was in support of Israel. Are you fucking kidding, yo? And here's him in this YouTube video. It's just a minute at the end of this YouTube video. You can check it yourself, where he says he deleted it. He defended it. I don't know what to tell you, man.
All right. I don't know what to see either. Look, I will take some time and see what happens.
Okay. Look, man, my point is that the most like the banners of this truth movement are so often compromised. He is not different.
All right. Well, as I said, time will tell on this stuff.
Time is already told.
No, it hasn't.
Yes, he deleted a tweet in defense of Roger Waters for wearing a costume on stage and opposing the Holocaust, opposing anti-Semitism, opposing fascism, because he wore a costume they didn't like and put words up on a screen that he didn't like, that he's been doing for a decade now.
All right, look, Jeremy, here's the thing. I'm going to wait and see. That's not deleting a tweet. To be fair, I know agorists aren't involved in politics, is not a policy position. Let's see where he goes on specific things.
The reason he deleted the tweet is his position.
Okay, but wait. If he it'd be funny though. Let's wait, because what if he on the campaign calls out the USS Liberty? I'm not saying he will, but
I wouldn't care, because he's already proven himself willing to compromise, and I don't know why you're not taking that seriously.
I am taking it seriously. I'm saying wait. Look, people.
No, you're saying wait without taking it seriously. You're not even responding to it.
I am taking that into account. Okay. Look, I'm taking that into account. I don't like his position on nuclear energy, but what I'm going to do is take the time and say, look, there were people who did the same thing. I fell for the same thing. I'm like, Obama might end the Iraq war and it created more wars. So I was wrong.
I didn't fall for that.
I did. And then there were people who fell definitely for Trump super hard. They're like, oh man.
Not me.
And I didn't fall for that either. We didn't fall for that either. But here's what I want to say. I feel that people, I give a little bit, people don't like this. I give a little bit of wiggle room on some things, and there's people I don't like in the anarchist movement who won't do this. I have friends like Mark Passio's camp. Cream, you're not an anarchist. Why? Oh, you want to vote, or you want to vote? Look, okay, fine. And then there'd be primitivists who say, you're not an anarchist. You're using, and then there's syndicalists who think I'm a neo-feudalist. Like, look, I give some wiggle room to different ideas and how they can work. And then I know some people say, oh, there can't be trans anarchists because apparently
this all exists within anarchist potential frameworks. RFK is not an anarchist. He's a statist, and he deleted a tweet defending Roger Waters because he got some pressure and he's compromised.
What I'll say is this. I will give it time. I'll observe and see what happens. I don't know what's going to happen in the future. You know, it'd be funny if he brings up the USS Liberty or something. Then hey, I was wrong. You know what? If I'm wrong, then I'm wrong. Like, look, if I'm wrong, then I'm wrong. But
like, you're already not addressing the tweet. Okay, you're saying that it's not a policy position. The reason he deleted the tweet is because he's compromised. He's not willing to stand on the truth if it
I don't know. I
if
don't
it
think
moves
he's
the needle
compromised.
against him.
I don't think he's compromised in that sense.
Then
Because
why
there's
did
been-
he delete his tweet?
I don't know.
Okay, that's a better answer than trying to find an explanation that makes sense.
I just
Because
feel it's weird because his family members was killed by the CIA, who works in
and
hand.
then he said most of the CIA is good.
No, he said he'd rip it apart.
No,
Yeah,
he said most
his
of the
dad-
CIA is good.
I can't see him. I cannot see.
I'm gonna look this up now too. Holy
Look.
shit.
If someone killed your father and your brother, and
RFK.
and is wanting to kill you, he went on Joe Rogan, Jeremy. He went on Joe Rogan and said the CIA might kill me. I don't think he's a big fan. If I said I'm gonna kill you, I don't think he'd be like, oh yeah, Kareem's cool dude. But if I was serious about it, not like a haha funny. So look, listen, I'm not saying he's perfect, but I'm saying the CIA and Mossad work together. I think he would be against at least, or maybe he's trying to say that to get elected. I don't know. Let's take some time and see what happens. I don't see why. Like Joe Jorgensen did that stupid tweet for BLM that said we do,
No, I actually agree with that. We should be actively anti-racist. That makes complete fucking sense to me.
No, she said like Black Lives Matter is a good organization or something like that, which I'm not a fan of that. I forget what she said, but like Joe Jordan,
interesting to know.
I forget exactly the anti-racist thing though. My question that is okay. Well, I'm not actively racist at all. My question for Joe Jorgensen is, or people like that is, or even your greatest people. I'm sure I could dig on the internet and find some skeletons in Konkin's closet. I don't know what Konkin did during his life, but I bet you Konkin did some shit.
Okay, here's a quote. Quote, the majority of people working at the CIA are good, patriotic people committed to their missions and the law. My own daughter-in-law was a field agent, and she is among the bravest people I have known, and quote, RFK motherfucking Jr. He didn't delete that tweet. Jesus Christ, man. Like, you should look into these people before supporting them. All I'm saying, yo.
Yeah.
I mean, I get that I'm knocking the wind out of your sails here, man, but people should put their momentum behind actual anarchists.
I agree with that, but there's no actual anarchist unless Dave Smith runs, which he hasn't announced that he's going to run. Nobody.
Politics are not the route to freedom.
They can
if you're going to say that they are, but you don't have a political avenue for anarchy, then saying that you're going to vote for a Democrat who is pro-CIA, pro-Israel, and pro pretty much everything else conservative, and is lying essentially about being a Democrat, I don't know what to fucking tell you, man. Okay. Like, he's co-opted. He's fundamentally compromised.
He might be. I'm not saying he's not. I'm just saying he might be, and I don't know.
I do. I've looked into this potentially too much.
I'm saying it's possible.
Oh, and JC, feel free to connect with me places because you'll see a lot of this sort of aggressive negativity in my fucking socials.
Why can't you be a happy dude? Like, hey, it's all going to be okay. We're going to defeat the deep state. It's all good.
I will be happy when we can unite behind real truth and stop tearing down those who seek it by ascribing to one or more elite approved agendas for the purposes of the reification of their hegemony by the methods of balkanization and total control. But we're not there yet. The people are fighting each other, and they're too chicken shitted to fight the state. And they're not actually invested in it enough to like step away from their echo chambers, to like walk away from their dumb little cliques, to say that maybe I can talk to that guy. Maybe I'll listen to him instead of listening to liars who lie about him.
Look, look, okay. I'm not saying anybody's even lying. I'm not fighting for clicks. I'm the one for all. I'm the one who's pro coalition. In fact, I'm the one who anytime someone says something bad about one faction or one side, I'm trying to educate them. Like when people say, "Oh, there's no such thing." When people say there's no such thing as trans anarchists, I'm like, there are. Here's the people. Here's what they're doing. When people say ANCOMs and syndicalists just want to steal my property, I'm like, hey, this my boy, Jeremy and Liz, and Lizard Jesus, and they not only don't want to steal your property, they have some really interesting ideas about it. I'm not an expert on syndicalism. I don't claim to be. I watched one video. I read a little bit of Mal Testa. So then I like put you guys, or like, when someone's coming down hard on the primitivist side, which is usually both the ANCAPs and the ANCOM, I'm like, look, listen, these people aren't the problem. They're an even smaller minority in a smaller minority, and they have some good ideas. So the green anarchists, same with the solar punks, same with the mutualists. I can't say I run into any ANFEMs or any pacifists, but if they are, send them my way. There's one individualist dude, but I guess it was two individualists to come on the podcast. So that's cool. And that's what I try and do as well, in addition to utilizing the political system and having a small garden, and also, learning water purification and all that type of fun stuff, and eventually getting a firearm. So I think that's all useful, but you can also use the system. Now with RFK, he hasn't even, the reason I say wait is there's a couple things. He hasn't won the Democratic nomination. We don't even know if he's going to run for president in a thing. Maybe Biden rigs it like they did rig it with Hillary, and that's it. And I'm wrong. So, and he's done. But if he does, then I can revisit the thing and say, like, look, Jeremy, here's what I found that's right, wrong, and I can make a decision.
I will not support anyone who says that most of the people in the CIA are good. It won't fucking happen.
He didn't say that on Joe Rogan. Maybe he changed.
I don't fucking care. He said it a month ago.
Well, Joe Rogan just happened.
I don't care. He said it a month ago.
All right.
Like, for real, the fact that he went on Joe Rogan is totally irrelevant to his actual policy positions.
Is it?
Well, yeah. Because what he has said and not taken back and not done anything about, he didn't delete that motherfucking tweet. He believes it. I'm not going to bitch foot around about it.
I just find it hard to believe that his dad and his uncle were killed by the CIA. I don't feel like he'd be pros. I just don't feel like if someone killed your family members, you'd be like, wow, that's a great institution.
If he's trying to run for president, he's going to sell out, because that's how you become president.
He might.
He did.
To what? He might, to a certain extent.
He did, to the full extent.
I don't agree with that.
Yeah.
No.
The CIA is fundamentally the most evil, three-letter institution that the U.S. has ever known. That's the reason it's worked with Nazis. That's the reason it's worked with sterilizationists. That's the reason it's worked to build the worst tech the U.S. government has. That's the reason it's worked to kill people, plot coups, plot assassinations, fund foreign extremists, including foreign Nazis. The CIA is evil.
Yes.
I don't care.
They did come up with one of the most interesting documents, I'll say that. But yes, they're the most evil institution along with DARPA.
So how can a guy who says that most of those people are actually pretty chill, be one of us? He ain't. He's compromised.
I can send you the Joe Rogan interview.
I don't need it. If he's serious about being on the truth wagon, the first truth is fuck the CIA. If we can't agree on a baseline of fuck the CIA, he's not with us.
I think he is.
He's not.
All right.
He says the CIA is fine, except for a few bad apples.
That's not the impression I got
Because you're not listening to the quote where he said the majority of people working at the CIA are good, patriotic people committed to their missions and the law. My own daughter-in-law was a field agent, and she is among the bravest people I have known. That is him. I don't care if you believe it or not. He said it. That is from the horse's motherfucking mouth, yo.
All right.
Like, I'm pretty aggro because, like, it appears that it doesn't matter if I quote somebody to you. It's still not good enough.
No, okay. You know what? Okay. Here's what I'll do. I will find that quote myself, find the thing, and if
I will send you a link to that quote.
All right. Then I was wrong. If that's the case, then I was wrong.
Here is a link to that quote. You can pull it up and screen share it.
Can I also play a video?
If you want. I mean,
Well, I
this
guess
is your
it is.
stream, yo.
All right.
Because his whole deal in this thread was to say that, yeah, some CIA officers are bad and were responsible for the assassination. And praise be to Biden for doing the Assassination Records Act. You know, fucking a shadowy CIA agent in a covert program. But like that, the a covert program and a CIA agent is only followed up by a tweet where he says most of them are actually chill, yo. Y'all can chill, yo.
All right, fine. You got me with a quote. Yes, it is a real quote. All right. And let's take a look at this as well.
Uncle who's assassinated, and you believe the intelligence agencies were part of that. What happens to you?
Well, I got to be careful. I mean, I'm aware of that, and I'm not, I'm aware of that danger, and I don't live in fear of it, at all. But I'm not stupid about it, and I take precautions.
Okay, so we can avoid the slideshow because, like, I already know his views on things. See, the thing is, yeah, sure, they could kill him. But you know who's talking about all this stuff as well? Immortal Technique.
Yeah,
He's
I love
still
Immortal
alive.
Technique. All right. How about this? Let's go with Vivek Ramaswamy.
I don't know who that is.
Some dude that's pretty good on the Republican side, actually. Not pretty good. He's okay.
Well, send me information about him, and I'll see if I can dig some dirt on him too.
I'm sure you'll find it. But yeah, I probably could. But I mean, like, digging dirt is, I could dig dirt on Konkin. Would that make him bad? Like, I'm sure Konkin did something.
I'm not a fan of some of the things Konkin did. I'm critical of him working with some Holocaust revisionists.
Okay.
I don't like everything he did. That doesn't mean that I don't support the actual belief of agorism. I don't need to support everything somebody does to support some of the things that they believe. I just am not going to join the RFK Jr. personality cult and say he's fucking awesome when he's not.
Okay. I'm not either. I'm going to say, hey, I'll take my time. It's maybe there's something good here and maybe there's not.
Like that's the thing. Okay, so Konkin. I can talk about what Konkin formulated, which was agorism. It was a practical market anarchist solution approach.
It was really good.
Agorism was huge in a significant amount of left libertarian approaches in the middle of the 20th century.
It still
So
is. It still
I
is.
can still support agorism. Okay? I can support the methodology of agorism. What cohesive philosophy has RFK Jr. put out?
He has not. He has not. I'm not saying he has.
So
he has. I'm not saying
that's
he
not the same level, and I'm not going to
There's a difference.
use
There's
them
a
on the
difference. Okay.
same level.
I'm not saying you should. Look, there's a fundamental difference between somebody, and this is the difference between fundamentally me and Leeson or Ron Paul and Rothbard, is that there are economists or philosophers who will put out a philosophy or an idea and then how it should work, and then there's somebody maybe in public or private politics who will take that and implement that in some way, maybe in an imperfect way, but they'll implement that. So, I also sent you a link to that. Also, Big Pharma executive immediately says to me, if all other things, Big Pharma was no problem for him. Why is he speaking out now? Because it finally became popular. Maybe that's true. Okay, so maybe everybody's just a scum.
Also, apparently Vivek was directly like connected and affiliated with Soros.
Oh, okay. Well, never mind then.
I'm looking into it right now, and he was he stepped down as CEO of biotech firm Roivant Sciences in January, and so he was on a biotech thing, and then HuffPost says that he paid a Wikipedia editor to remove information that connected him to George Soros, and that he was on Ohio's COVID-19 response team. He's a pharma cunt. He's a pharma cunt who worked with Soros, and he wanted to scrub his past because it made him look bad to Republicans who thought he was some edgy outsider or inside man or whatever. I didn't even know him, and I've already found out 80 informations against him. This is how fast my brain works at dissolving fucking public trust. I already know so many organizations.
I feel like I'm yeah, Calvin Coolidge was you're yeah, here's the thing, him beating a dog with a stick. Okay.
Oh, well, Calvin Coolidge was sort of overrated in terms of that. I would prefer Harding, but I'm sort of biased in that regard for a variety of reasons, not the least of which is that.
But Jefferson Davis and Robert E. Lee were good dudes.
I see. If you look into Harding, he was anti-racist, he was anti-war, he was starting peace talks between nations, he was deregulating, he prevented he prevented a recession which would have become the first depression. He helped a bunch of different people start to get to know each other. He insulted white people who wanted to bar black people from voting by saying perhaps there should actually just be a fitness test to see if you should be able to vote. He was very subversive, extremely peaceful, but also extremely good at being incisive toward many industries and industrial complexes. Harding was one of the only people who actually meant a damn. And you know what they did? They destroyed his legacy, hyper-stressed him, propagandized at every turn until his health sucked asshole so much that he died. That's what they do with real bad threats to the system. And he was an anti-racist during those times? Are you fucking kidding me? So yeah, that's their. These people want you to respect the figures that still reify their positions. They want you to disrespect the ones that don't. It's always going to run that way. The Kennedys are no exception.
All right.
Ask not what your country can do for you. Ask what you can do for your country. Fuck off, bitch. The country stole everything it had. The country like is directly responsible for some of the greatest levels of brutality and mass murder that mankind has ever known. The country worked with the Nazis. The country is a hypocritical pack of racist, fascist, lying cunts consistently advancing their technology. The country is like fundamentally in debt to the people. The country can suck my asshole out. That's what the country can do for me. Fuck the Kennedys. I think that should be clear enough.
Fair enough.
Anyway, that was the Objective Tech like hour and 35 minutes.
Yes.
Oh, actually, hour and 45 now. Anyway, yeah, like I see us fundamentally heading for that iceberg Ted K talked about when he brought up the ship of fools. How he brought up the fact that it's causing us all to argue with each other, to quibble about things that don't matter, to get our little bits of representation or fighting those people, you know, so that we never notice what we're heading for, which is total technocratic oblivion. That's the reason so many of these simp-ass little cunts are still on Team Elon Musk. Because he lies, he supports evil. He is a massive, ghoulish monster fucking demon in human skin. Yo, I am not exaggerating. You know what he did? Like, within the past fucking week, he responded to a tweet where Matt Walsh was being dishonest about the Trevor Project. Do you know what the Trevor Project is?
No.
It's a suicide hotline for LGBTQ youth. And Matt Walsh acted like it was a horny chat for minors and adults. When these minors were coming to qualified healthcare professionals to talk about not killing themselves, feeling human, feeling accepted and comfortable. And so some out of context things were posted by Matt Walsh, a self-admitted theocratic motherfucking fascist who, might I add, thinks 16-year-old girls are adults you should be able to fuck and impregnate. And Elon Musk replied to his dumb fuck tweet about this with 2 exclamation points, as though that needed to be said, thus boosting the thread to even more people than Matt Walsh's already frothing at the mouth delusional little fuckboy audience wanted. And Elon Musk propelled this tweet lying about a suicide hotline. You know what Elon Musk did the other day?
No.
He boosted a tweet, an anti-Jew tweet, with like fucking Top Lobster, this fake libertarian who's actually just a racist who uses that as an excuse.
Didn't you have a debate with him?
No, I didn't have a debate with Top Lobster. I just don't like these people and what they stand for. And here's another fun thing. Top Lobster and co. Excommunicated me from a chat with another anti-Semite, Ryan Dawson, in it. And they excommunicated me from the chat for the dire crime of posting a link. What was that link? Well, in celebration of Michael Malice's little grift book, where he like used leftists he doesn't agree with.
I don't hate
where
Michael
he
Malice.
used where he used leftists he doesn't agree with to say that he was making an anarchist handbook. You know, leftists he will throw under the bus at any convenience by calling commies bad and blaming everything bad on communism. That Michael Malice, when that guy was doing his book thing initially, there was a guy, Jose Gallison, who has a podcast, No Way Jose. And it's affiliated with like the Tower Gang and all these other sort of like, you know, fake libertarian fucking NRX hacks. All these like fucking little weasels, right? He had this podcast episode where he went over Emma Goldman. And you know who he had on to go over Emma Goldman?
Who?
Thaddeus Russell, who I believe I've gone over with you. But if you need a refresher, Thaddeus Russell, I did a video. Anybody can watch this on Hate with Harding, where it's my new YouTube channel where I'm going to be posting commentary videos. There's going to be a flurry of those this week. But basically, Thaddeus Russell defends Roman Polanski, who drugged and raped a fucking girl.
I know who wrote all of them. Seriously.
And Thaddeus Russell also believes in adult child sex and had a great long conversation with Stephen Kirshner about why we should start accepting adult child sex more. And then he went on Liberty Lockdown with Clint Russell, who, by the way, has recently blocked me because I called him out on supporting Andrew Tate, a known sex trafficker.
I'm friends with Clint.
And well, then you might be able to tell him that it's a bitch move to block somebody for criticizing him for supporting Andrew Tate, a known sex trafficker.
You know, I don't know if that's true. I don't know.
It is true. It is true. It is
I haven't
true.
seen anybody.
It is true.
Maybe did do it.
It is true. I'm saying it. You've seen somebody said it. And to get back on, it is true.
No, I didn't say. Okay, you said it. I just haven't seen anyone say. Haven't seen any one of his victims, actual people, say.
Wait, oh, Andrew Tate, you mean? No, you haven't, because it's in fucking court.
I don't know. We'll see. Let me see.
He's in jail. He admitted to it. He said he likes beating the fuck out of women. He said he likes raping women. What else do you fucking need, yo?
Where did he say that?
On his fucking shows on his site. You haven't looked into him at all.
I did.
Then you didn't look hard enough and you just believed him.
It's not I believed it. Look, I go with the premise. I'm not saying I'm a lawyer. I go with the premise innocent until guilty. So if someone comes to me and says
admitted it.
Like if someone comes to me and says like Jeremy, did this, and this, like
he admitted it.
All right, then he did.
So to get back on point, Clint had him on with Eliza Blue to talk about how the adults in a community should be able to decide if an adult should be able to fuck a kid.
All right.
That Thaddeus Russell. So before that even happened, before all of that, when I was bringing all this stuff up about Thaddeus Russell, I just had the Roman Polanski thing to go off of, where for years he has defended Roman Polanski, who drugged and raped a teenage girl. And I posted a link to an article that Thaddeus Russell wrote on the Daily Beast, where Thaddeus motherfucking Russell's self wrote this article, and I posted this in response in a Twitter reply to Jose Gallison. And with the backing of Top Lobster, Jose blocked me from that group, eventually telling me that he blocked me because I'm an insufferable faggot. So these people aren't willing to oppose real predators and real predation and real problems and real anything. But then Elon Musk boosts one of them because he posted something anti-Jew. And then Elon Musk deletes that tweet not too long after the controversy starts.
Okay. Let me make something very clear. I am not a fan of Elon
right.
Musk.
I'm saying that people are.
I tell people not to buy it. I am friends with Clint. I will ask Clint what happened when I see him from his side, on his perspective, and get what was going down.
Or you could host a mediated debate with
Okay.
See if he's willing to talk about why it was acceptable to talk about
adults
deciding when adults and children should be able to fuck.
I will talk to Clint. I know he hangs out with Jocelyn Graybach, who you're not.
Yeah, because Jocelyn Glaybach lied about me, lies about pretty much everything, sucks Trump's cock about literally everything. Jocelyn Glaybach is a massively grifting hack. And that's the reason she got along so well with Ian Miles Chong. That's the reason she got along so well with fucking Tim Pool. That's the reason she gets along so well with these people, because she's a grifting hack. Just like these people associated, Eliza Blue is a censorious grifting hack. Elon Musk helped Eliza Blue censor on like Eliza Blue's behalf. They're all a part of this big, fake fucking anti-liberty like circle jerk, and I hate it. Like, they don't care about truth. They don't care about freedom. They don't care about liberty. They don't fucking give a shit, yo. The truth movement is compromised.
Some of it is. Look,
Most of it is.
no, okay,
Yeah.
listen. So here's the thing.
And yet, I do know about Carolyn Borisenko and her pedo ass.
Okay, there's definitely people in the. Okay, here's how I look at it. There's people in the truth movement who are trying, and I've said this a million times.
A minority.
Yes, to create a lot of fear porn, to target specific things.
Okay,
And
that's the majority. Sorry, I thought you were going to say trying to do right things.
no, I would say the truth movement has a very small minority, like the people I mentioned that I like, that I think are good. I do like Clint, though. I've met Clint personally. I've talked to Clint. I like Clint. We can get something going and see what was what, because I don't know about the Andrew Tate stuff or the other thing, and see what was going on.
See, the thing is, he lied. He told people that that Andrew followed him on Twitter, and he said, "Come on, Tower Gang," I think it was, and I said that's not something really to brag about, because or maybe we shouldn't be promoting like known sex traffickers. And he blocked me, and then later said, I just blocked a bunch of people who thought needlessly scolded me. Like, fuck off, dude. You just promoted a sex trafficker. Do not tell me it's needless when people gave you negative fucking feedback. You fucking snowflake.
Okay, I'll say this. I think we should talk to Clint, because Clint's a reasonable dude. I've talked to him.
We'll see. Because I think I'm being pretty reasonable about not supporting a sex trafficker.
I don't know that Andrew Tate or Tristan are.
They are. They admitted fucking to it.
I'd like to also talk to, not that I'm going to go see them anytime. I'll actually like to talk to them and be like, what's what? Because I hear this side and I hear this side.
They lie.
They could.
The BBC quoted their fucking website to them, and he still said he didn't say it. He lies. Andrew Tate is a liar. He started his business by lying to young men, scamming vulnerable young men by pretending to be a woman, and then lying to them, stringing them out of a bunch of money that they didn't have. And then he made his starter Bugatti money off of those lies. He is a trained and seasoned liar who lied his whole life. He's a fucking liar.
Okay.
I don't know why you would like him anyway. Libertarians are supposed to oppose fraud. He admitted to being this lying scam artist. And then he admitted later on to being a sex trafficker who treats women like shit, beats them, and forces them into sexual situations. And some of his ex-models for his cam business, where he was lying to dudes to scam them out of money, have said that he trafficked them and didn't pay them enough, didn't give them what they were owed, and didn't let them out.
I need to do more digging on it. If that is all true, I think Tate is also CIA. That is correct. Yes, Emory Tate was CIA. So yes.
Which begs the bonus question: why the fuck are you even remotely defending him?
I'm not. I'm saying
you are. You said you didn't think it was true. He said it. What else needs to fucking happen?
Nothing. If you said it, that's fine. Then what I'd say I want to do, is really get you and Clint to talk, because I know Clint. I can talk to Clint and be like, Clint, here's the issue. Here's what happened. Sit down and talk to Jeremiah and actually sort this out. Don't just block somebody, because if I have a disagreement with you, which I've had tons of disagreements with you, I'm going to sit there. I'm not going to block you. I'm going to talk it out. My problem is not to have disagreements on certain people or things. Like, obviously, maybe we'll have a disagreement on RFK, but I'll talk it out. I'm not going to block you and be like, oh, well, I'm not going to block you over Somalia. I'm not going to block you because
and I don't block people pretty much at all.
I don't. Yeah. My problem is not that people have vastly different views. It's that they block each other because somebody said this. So, and I'm also trying to talk to Liz and everybody, and hopefully we can get you back in Mad Liberty, because I think EXE and Mad Liberty are doing good for the world, in addition to Mises and other organizations. So, yeah, and there's things we do wrong. There's things we get right. But hey, we got rid of Scott Ritter out of that thing. So, like, I think we're going in the right direction. Earth Nerd said she can't hear anything.
JC hasn't been having any problems.
He's Jesus Christ.
And Ego
yeah.
didn't have any problems earlier.
Yeah. But to get back to the tech stuff, I'll talk to Clint. Well, I'll hit up Clint and see what he wants to do.
I mean, that's the thing. I'm willing to talk to these people, but guess why they won't platform me? Because I remember what people say. I remember who people are, and I do not shut the fuck up.
That's fine. That's fine. I understand that. Like, I honestly think Clint and Justin separately, though, should get on and talk to you, because then they would sort out a whole bunch of stuff.
Well, see, the thing about Justin, though, is he consistently blames an acidity disorder or an anxiety disorder for his failure to schedule things like a normal, like, mature fucking adult person. Like, no, you can schedule things, motherfucker. Like, there is no problem scheduling things in advance.
I don't particularly have a problem with him in that regard.
I do, because if we're going to do something, it should be moderated, scheduled, and have rules. Not just me like, oh, you didn't drop everything you were doing that day. Be my bitch and go live. That's what he consistently demanded I do. I could be about to work out. I could be about to, like, go for like one of my errand runs. I could be about to make content of my own. I could be about to do something with friends. I could be about to have a fucking family call because I do that once a week. I could be about to do so many fucking things. And you know what he would want me to do? Drop everything now. I'm going to stamp my feet. I'm going to tag you repeatedly in so many fucking posts. Now. Talk to me now. Do it now. Go live now. Drop everything you're doing now. I'm the only one who matters. That's Justin.
Okay.
It's bitch-ass little baby behavior from somebody who can't actually logically debate. If he could, he wouldn't have a problem scheduling. He wouldn't have a problem like having moderation and rules and respectable behavior, giving people their full time. He wouldn't have a problem with that. Because that's how real debate works. Not drop everything you're doing, be my bitch, join my live stream that I can exclusively control, and then let me control that and your schedule at a whim because I'm lying about you in public, and it's going to be so much better once it's only me in control of the live stream. I believe you, Justin. Just hasn't kicked in how much I believe you yet. Fucking bitch. Like, that's the thing. He lied about every one of my positions. He said I think the government cares about black or LGBT people. I specifically have repeatedly said that they don't give a fucking shit. That this is, like, strictly, like, using these groups for their personal gain. And that they don't care, like, how if they actually cared, they wouldn't be selling billions of arms to Saudi Arabia. If they actually cared, they wouldn't be supporting companies that did business with Saudi Arabia or China or any of the other countries that, like, literally will, like, persecute and oftentimes beat, kill, otherwise fuck with LGBT people. They don't care about trans people. I never said they did. I never said that. In fact, I've said that they've only aesthetically gone in any of these directions and not put their money where their mouth is, not put their force where their mouth is. I've repeatedly clarified this, repeatedly said it, and he's repeatedly lied about it. He's also repeatedly lied about my positions regarding the agenda, claiming that there isn't one. No, the agenda is recuperation for the purposes of surface-level virtue signaling rather than radical change, even in the favor of trans people. And that's why the eradicationists are winning right now, because the eradicationists are right there to pick up all these pieces that they've dropped from their various Kristallnacht-like activities. Like, I have really reasonable positions in this regard, even from an extremist conspiracy theorist mentality. the WEF wants us balkanized and fighting about things like this so that they can get away with implementing things like that. But you know what started all of this off? Justin Pedini said to me, Justin Pedini said this on his Facebook profile, that trans people in sports is a more important issue for liberty than AI. I challenged him on that a month ago, and ever since have been the subject of harassment, lies, and this consistent demand to drop everything I'm doing for him. It's not gonna fucking happen. I've been right every step of the way. He has actively lied so many times, even sometimes lying that I even didn't say anything when there was a comment right fucking there. Like, no. He has zero good faith intentions. He has zero truth intentions. He has the intentions to do what counts in this current grifting environment, which is spreading the same recycled garbage memes from other right-wing fucking pages and getting reified by his bigoted friends. That's it. That's the reason he started all of this off by saying that AI is not as much of a threat to liberty as trans people in fucking sports. I started by criticizing him
Well,
on
then
that.
he's wrong.
Yes. And he's been wrong every step of the way, including telling me that I don't get stoned enough. That if only I would start smoking more weed, because that was one of the things. One of the times he demanded that I drop everything and talk to him. Now. I was outside going for a motherfucking run. I said, I'm too busy like touching grass. And then him and his fucking stoner friends got on me and said, no, you should be smoking. And I said, nah, sorry, I'm clean and sober. And they said, clean and sober? The indignation of having implied that I'm getting high to get high. Fucking bitch. Shut the fuck up.
All right. That being said, Jeremy's a happy guy.
Oh, I'm thrilled.
That being said, what 2 hours did you want to add anything else?
Just that, like, this is exactly the way they want us. They want us focusing on, gender versus gender issues rather than uniting with all genders, no matter what they identify as, against their AI superstate. They want us fighting fucking racial wars and justifying bombing Mexico to stop fentanyl, because then they can have more comprehensive domestic security policy when they start a war with Mexico or the South America. And they want to do this also because China is starting to unite with the people over there. BRICS is sort of solidifying, and they need new sources of precious minerals. So they're going to South America where they can get the same minerals. It's happening, whether or not these people like it. They're going to reify they're going to deal with their chip shortage by moving their imports south of the border. That's it. They want us focused on all of these dumb, divisive, evil issues to the point where there are people who are insulting breast cancer survivors because they had a mastectomy. These people have been trained to froth at the mouth at when they even see. And they don't know medicine. They don't know science. They don't need to. They don't even need to read the breast cancer now thing in the fucking tag on the post they're responding to. They will lie, bully, abuse, humiliate, destroy, dox anyone who gets in their way. And they will ignore real groomers. They will ignore real problems. They will ignore the real structure. They will ignore the real threats. And because of that, tech is going to accelerate to a point where people will not be able to stop it unless they start to actually turn against all of this, which is unlikely to happen. Just like Ted Kaye said, we are on a ship of fools heading toward a motherfucking iceberg of the eventual consequence of unmitigated industrialization. We are fucked because the truth community has chosen to compromise itself because it's more fun to mock minorities than it is to actually speak truth. They don't need truth. They will destroy a suicide hotline for the kicks. They will destroy a fucking charity organization which helps people get access to books for the kicks. They will destroy anything they possibly can because they are pointed at the new degenerate art exhibit. Meanwhile, the progress of tech is moving toward a fucking breakneck pace, and some people would rather you be more concerned about literal panem et circenses, sports, than AI. Because of that, tech is going to win, and humanity is going to die.
All right. I'll end it by saying this. I do agree that they want us to vote a divide and conquer strategy, and that is apparently clear. And people who deny there is one, I would be questioning what they're thinking. That being said, is humanity going to be destroyed? I don't know. But what I will say is, if we don't realize these issues now, it's going to be a lot harder to stop it if they accelerate what they want. That being said, I'm not going to give in to the fear. I still believe coalitioning between anarchists and coalitioning between those who know what's going on, and that small percentage can make a difference. So with that, shout out anything you want, and then we will close it off.
If I didn't scare you off, I'm Insanity is free at various social networks. Jeremy or Jeremiah Harding, various places. JeremiahHarding.com. You can get emails. You can find me on Discord, Smealm. I'm places, you know. I'm here for actual coalition building to the purpose of extremist and highly conspiratorial like mentality. I believe that we are heading for apocalypse, and I want all hands on motherfucking deck to right this ship.
I don't believe we're heading to an apocalypse, but I think there's some definitely tough times ahead, and coalitioning between anarchists and people who advocate for decentralization is the best way to do that. And because of that, I want to shout out the Mises Caucus, LP Mises Caucus. Go there to further the work of Murray Rothbard and Ron Paul. We talked about Konkin today. If you're interested in his ideas, not everything he's done and said, but if you're interested in his ideas overall, especially how different markets function, gray, black, white markets, check out definitely Agorist Nexus.
Yes.
There's that.
And there's going to be more articles there soon, by the way.
Yeah.
And more podcast episodes.
And if you want to understand the perspective of trans anarchists and how they might function, I guess we could shout out EXE. Well, that has a bunch of different stuff. That's like a whole. That's so much stuff.
Yeah, XE Chamber. If y'all want to hit me up on Discord, I got a server.
Yes.
But like, also, if you have an anarchist project, and I mean actual anarchist, ones that are interested in all the stuff that like, you know, actual non-balkanized action, hardcore shit, hit me up, and we can talk about you coming on the Agorist Nexus podcast, because like Konkin worked with the like he made the first Alliance for the Libertarian Left, and you know, I'm willing to work with anyone who's actually on the bottom strip. I just fundamentally believe that there are a wide variety of people who lie about being there. If you're not lying, if you're actually into this for real anarchy, if you know your principles, hit me up. Let's talk about your project and what you're involved in on the podcast.
Sure. And last but not least, if we're going to talk about a good anarchist project that I think encompasses everything, I do like Mad Liberty Party. And definitely shout out to Lizard Jesus and all my friends there.
Oh, and also Thursday or Friday, we're gonna have Harrison Wells on to talk about the infiltration of right wingers into liberty circles.
Right. And if you're drinking water or beer today, pour one out for Uncle Ted.
Yeah.
Who who was the king of mail-in voting.
Yeah.
I support mail-in. Do you support mail-in voting? He sure did.
I support handing people bouquets of flowers.
Like Maltesta.
Mm. Nothing like a little deed.
Make sure you grew them yourself. Although agriculture, Zerzan's like, come on, man, it's agriculture. No, I'm kidding. All right, guys. Thank you for tuning in. Hope you enjoyed the Objective Tech Hour with the Essential Libertarians. Check out everything here. You can find me on Kareem6633 on Twitter or Kareem for Liberty, and I will catch you soon.